The sound is like 1,000 freight trains crashing into an abyss. The mist rises like a ghost from the water below, blinding anyone who gets too close. Since the beginning of time, Niagara Falls has been a place of beauty and death. It is the graveyard of the foolish and the desperate. But on October 24, 1901, one woman decided to cheat death. She climbed inside a makeshift wooden barrel, had the lid nailed shut, and threw herself over the edge. She was 63 years old. She was a schoolteacher. She was a widow with nothing left to lose. Her name was Annie Edson Taylor, and she was about to make history as the first person to survive the plunge over Niagara Falls. Annie Edson Taylor was not your typical daredevil. She didn't seek thrills, she sought security. Born in 1838, she had lived a life of ups and downs. After her husband died in the Civil War, she moved from city to city, working as a dance teacher and a music teacher. But by the turn of the 20th century, Annie was 63, unemployed, and facing the prospect of the poorhouse. In the 1900s, there was no social security. If you didn't have family or money, you starved. Annie was sharp, she was tough, but she was desperate. She needed a fortune, and she needed it fast. Looking at the growing tourism industry around Niagara Falls, she saw an opportunity. People paid good money to see danger. She realized that if she could survive the falls, she would become a star, and she could sell her story for a fortune. Annie wasn't reckless. She was an engineer at heart. She knew that hitting the water from 170 feet was like hitting concrete. She needed a vessel that could withstand the impact. She hired a local manager to help fund her project, and hired a cooper to build a custom barrel. It was made of oak, reinforced with iron hoops. Inside, she lined it with a mattress to cushion the blows. But there was one final addition that was truly ingenious: a leather harness. She was strapped into the barrel, so she wouldn't bounce around inside like a loose beanbag. To test it, she placed a cat inside and sent the barrel over the falls. The cat survived, though according to Annie, it was a little traumatized. She was ready. October 24, 1901, was a cold, gray afternoon. A crowd of thousands lined the banks of the Niagara River. They were reporters, curiosity seekers, and skeptics. They looked at the barrel bobbing in the water, then at the 63-year-old woman in a long skirt, clutching a heart-shaped pillow. Annie climbed in. The lid was nailed shut. The air pressure inside was adjusted using a bicycle pump. As the boat towed her toward the deadly current, the crowd held its breath. With a final shove, the rope was cut. Annie was alone in the barrel, drifting toward the thundering roar of Horseshoe Falls. She drifted past the point of no return. The water grabbed the barrel and flung it toward the edge. In the final seconds, the barrel tipped. Then it was gone. The waiting was agonizing. No one could see anything. The mist was too thick. Had she been crushed? Had she drowned? The currents pulled the barrel toward the Canadian shore. It was tossed violently in the whirlpool, spinning out of control. Finally, near the old scow rescue station, the barrel appeared. It was battered, bruised, and leaking air. Rescuers pulled it to shore. They sawed open the lid. Annie Edson Taylor was lifted out. She was bleeding from a cut on her head. Her face was pale. She was soaking wet, but she was alive. She stood up, raised her hand, and said, "I prayed every second I was in the barrel, except when I went over the falls. I was too busy." Annie Edson Taylor had achieved the impossible. She was an overnight sensation. Newspapers called her the Queen of the Mist. But the fame she counted on was fleeting. Her manager betrayed her. He stole her barrel and went on tour with a look-alike, making money that belonged to Annie. Annie spent her life trying to sue him and get her story back. She worked as a carnival barker for years, posing for photos next to a replica of her barrel. She never made the fortune she dreamed of. In her later years, she was poor, nearly blind, and forgotten by the public that once cheered her. She died in 1921 at the age of 82. She is buried in the stunt section of a cemetery in Niagara Falls. Before she died, Annie wrote a warning to the world. She said, "If it was with my dying breath, I would caution anyone against attempting the feat. I would sooner walk up to the mouth of a cannon, knowing it was going to blow me to pieces, than make another trip over the fall." Annie Edson Taylor was a woman who refused to give up when society counted her out. She took a terrifying leap into the unknown and survived. She may not have found her fortune in gold, but she found something even more valuable: immortality. Her name is etched forever in the roar of the falls.